Welcome to Insights from the Couch, where real conversations meet real life at midlife.
We're Colette and Laura, two therapists and best friends, walking through the journey right alongside you. Whether you're feeling stuck, restless, or just unsure of what's next, this is a space for honest conversations, messy truths, and meaningful change.
And our Midlife Masterclass is now open. If you're looking to level up, get into action, and make midlife the best season yet, go to insightsfromthecouch.org and join our waitlist. Now let's dive in. All right, so let's just jump right in. Look, we just got off the phone. We're talking about a million things. My mind is buzzing. We haven't recorded in a while, so I'm excited to just talk about some stuff that's going on right now with you. And there's just so much bursting in my brain.
Yeah. What's bursting in your brain?
Okay, first I'm sitting with an existential issue. I just read this book. Oh God, now I'm not going to do the name of the book justice. It's one of those books where the title makes me feel like I have, or I want to have dyslexia. And I mean, no respect to dyslexia. I'm going to tell you the name. It's like 1,000 things in a million years, or a million years and 1,000. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I don't know what I've never heard of it.
It's by Donald Miller, and it's called A Million Miles in 1,000 Years. What I Learned While Editing My Life.
Oh, I love this. I love the title. Wait, say it again. 1,000,000 miles.
1,000,000 miles in 1,000 years. What I learned while editing my life. So this is how the universe can work in interesting and confounding ways, how little things can find you right when you need them that make you think. I'm a few weeks into this book launch. I'm grappling with, first of all, the existential difference between people looking at all of this and saying, oh my gosh, you must feel ecstatic. You were just on the Tamron Hall show. Your book's doing well. I don't even know if it really is. I mean, I think it is, but I'm not even really sure. And how I feel in my daily life, which is like, what's next? Is it going well? What do I do? How do I not mess it up? What do I want? I don't even really know. How do I make my life manageable again? And all while I feel completely exhausted and I want to go, which is not like me, I want to go crawl in like a little hammock somewhere on the corner of the earth and take a very long drug-induced nap. So I'm really struggling with how to keep going. And oddly enough, one of our past podcast guests recommended this speech coach to me. I met with him. He helped James Clear, who wrote Atomic Habits, take his speech to the stage. His name's Mike Pecchione. Anyway, it's just, I didn't even look into him. I didn't even know that until the call. I just booked an appointment with him because I'm like, okay, I'm doing all these talks about my book. I've already done a TEDx talk on the same topic, but I feel like I'm creating something new every day and I don't even really want to get out of bed. So I end up on this talk with this guy. He also helped this other guy, Donald Miller, I just mentioned, with some of his talks. And so I hear about this book and I decide randomly, it's so old. The book came out, I don't know, 15 years ago.
Probably the best kind of book.
Yeah. And I decide to read it. And it's just, first of all, it's beautifully written. It's a very religious book. To me, he's a Christian. He talks about God a lot in the book. I'm not very religious, although I'm raised Catholic. So when that part started, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this, but it all really spoke to me. And basically what this guy describes is that he had written a memoir. It did really well. And these people approached him to make a movie of his life. And it's very different to make a movie of your life than to live your life. But in the editing process, it made him contemplate, what is the meaning of life? How do you live a good life? And you live a good life by living a good story. The elements of a story that a character has to want something and overcome conflicts in order to get it and be transformed by the journey made him think about how he needed to engage in his life differently. And in this case, get off the couch and like stop hiding from life. I mean, he was already a successful writer. It's not like this guy was a couch potato, but he was struggling to see his life as a compelling story.
Even after he'd written a memoir.
Yes. I mean, I think it was in the present moment that he was struggling he was kind of looking at his life and going, what do I remember? Not that much. In this case, this man didn't grow up knowing his father, and he didn't think he really particularly cared, but they wanted to bring him meeting his father, and that this was this wound, this unhealed wound, into the movie. So he just started thinking about, when you get to the end of your life, like what is going to have made it a life well lived?
Yeah. I mean,
it's a huge question.
Well, it's a huge question. It's the question, right? I mean, this is where it's like I'm coming back to Catherine Woodward Thomas's book. That book has had a big impact on me, and I
love it. I'm not done.
I'm talking to everybody about it because I love how it transforms how counseling can work and how change can work, and like that you're always using something you're trying to create as grist for your own mill of sharpening yourself, that you are the tool, that you are always trying to overcome these bits of blockage to create something worth having. And that in the pursuit of that, you become your best self.
Okay, this is the same thesis. And I think this is the thesis. The hard part, right? That you're becoming. You're always becoming. And it is not actually the attainment of anything, any accolade, any success, any monetary value, finding true love, having a child, whatever you dream of. You still wake up and there you are. It's the process of striving and growing that really it hones you into this beautiful, sparkling jewel that you are meant to be.
Yes.
And the problem is, though, as I'm conceptualizing it right now, and this is why I love this book by Donald Miller, because he's one of those writers. He's just a beautiful writer. My favorite writers are the ones who can say a sentence about daily humanity in a way that you'd never thought of, and it just makes you feel so gotten. Like it just captures the human experience, and it's so simple. So he's got all these like just perfect little sentences that I was like, oh my God, I made a list of quotes from the book. That's how much I liked how he wrote. And then other things about the book, aren't that great. I don't know if there's a cohesive narrative. I read reviews online, and some people hated it and some people loved it, but it spoke to me at this time because he talks about how when you're in it, you don't like it, you resist it. And that people this is my interpretation of his writing, people either sort of collapse into atrophy of like the day in, day out. I'm comfortable enough. Maybe I want something, but I don't know what it is, or it's not clearly defined, or it's not like a burning thing, and I'm too comfortable here to overcome the inertia it would take to move wherever that might be. Even people are comfortable in relative unhappiness, right? He speaks to this, and we know it's true psychologically, that familiarity is the greatest seducer.
Yeah, it's such a huge obstacle. Luckily, I'm in a like crazy phase of flux right now that, when you're in one of these phases, and I know you are too, I think we're in those phases for different reasons, but you meet parts of self that are underdeveloped, that need your attention. And I, for one, have been like really meeting parts of myself. And I think that you don't understand, at least I'll speak for myself. I haven't always understood that I'm dealing with the same part over and over in different seasons. I was writing a whole piece about health anxiety, and we're going to do an episode on that. And I had a huge, horrible bout with that when I couldn't become pregnant with my second child after an ectopic pregnancy. And it was me trying to fight against what I believed I I had lost in the pregnancy loss, and me trying to make something happen, and me like not grieving, not being present with my own pain, trying to like strong arm my way through things. And I thought, oh, that part just showed up then. But now I'm realizing that part is still there, always waiting to be like revealed to me, like my own underdeveloped, entitled self that wants to have like a major temper tantrum when things don't go my way. And it's like, here it is again. And it's like, instead of being, I'm so blended with it, I have enough space now to go, oh, look, here it is again. The same theme that maybe I've dealt with 10 times in my life that I've just never, ever noticed how I'm contributing to it, or I'm not able to coach myself through it. Here it is again.
Okay, so flesh this part out for me a little bit. Like, how does it show up in your daily life? Because I imagine a lot of people can relate to this. I'm also meeting underdeveloped parts of self. But what is this part like, and how is it presenting right now?
It's a young part. It's a really young part. And I've got to say, like, I don't think I see it very often because I've had a life where I've gotten a lot of what I've wanted. It really comes out when my plans are thwarted, you know, for some reason.
Okay, so when you say a young part, so you and I we live in the land of like parts work as therapists, but not everyone knows what that means. You know, it's really like an inner child, a younger part of self that we all carry. Our personalities are complex. So Laura and I talk about parts all the time.
Yes.
So this is like a part of you that maybe, and we all have them, that is maybe didn't develop past a certain age and still lives inside and comes out under certain conditions, namely when something doesn't go your way. And that part just wants to be like, it's not fair. What the fuck? Like mad.
It like wants a baseball bat and it wants to break things. Like, and I think as a child, like, and I was a good kid, right? I wasn't like somebody that like had tantrums or anything, but I do remember like having rage around things. I remember like as a little girl, like my dad, this is like a famous story in my family, but it's like illustrative. It's like we were going to get a My Little Pony. Do you remember the My Little Ponies? And I wanted running raindrops. It was like the yellow horse with like the purple and the raindrops, and they didn't have it. They didn't have it. And I like couldn't leave the store. Like I was beside myself. Like I think my dad had to like haul me out of there. And I just couldn't get over the fact that I couldn't get it right now. Like it's like a very entitled, like why can't I have this? Yeah. And I think my mom like had it on my bed when I came home from school like a couple days later. And I think my life has largely gone in some way like that, where obstacles form. They're very frustrating. Obstacles are frustrating for everybody, but there's a rescue. Like somebody's going to come and like make it work. And now as an adult, I'm the person who has to make it work.
Right. No one's coming to save you.
No one's coming to save me. And I think that even though I have that adult awareness, because I mean, I've been a counselor for a long time and that helps, but the primal body experience is still like that little girl who wants to like freak the fuck out and behave really badly. And so I'm doing a lot of talking to myself.
So, okay.
Coaching myself.
A couple of questions about this, because I'm sure people can relate when your life isn't going according to plan in ways that are hurtful, scary, feel stuck, feel overwhelming. You know, like you said, we're both going through changes. It can feel largely out of control. And I think this is a really hard state for people to be in. So it can bring out these parts of self that aren't how we operate all the time. We might know intellectually, okay, we're grown ups and we have to pull on our big girl panties, but that's not how we feel. And so when you're faced with, this isn't how I want it to be, I can't really do anything but be in it and try to take care of myself and be with the feelings. How are you coaching yourself right now? What are you finding helpful? When you say talking to yourself, this is a big thing we're advocates of, that people don't do well typically.
Yeah. I'm acknowledging what it is that I feel. And I'm doing a lot of trying to get like the stress moved through my body. Like I'm doing push-ups against the sink, against the wall. I'm like trying to just move stress through me because the stress lives right in my shoulders and in my body and my gut. So I'm getting the cycle of energy moved through me. Walking, running is huge. I didn't want to go this morning, but it was really important that I did because I was able to shift some things mentally. I have a bit of space, Colette, where it's like I can see this from a distance and I can see the larger meaning of it. Like I'm not so blended with it that I can't see how this is actually happening for me in my life. That,
Right.
oh, here is this lesson again.
Yep.
Let's see if you can be with it differently. So having just a little bit of space helps me talk to myself differently.
Yeah. Yeah.
And shift it a little bit.
Yeah. This is the heart of, the process I teach in my book and in my work, the self-connected communication, that you are naming your emotions, you're allowing them. That helps us to regulate. And then we're turning toward ourselves because we are the adult who is coming to rescue those scared, hurting parts. And we're compassionate and we're validating. And we actually say to ourselves, like, this is really hard. And I can get through it, and I can be kind and loving to myself, and that connection to the universal flow that other people are suffering along with us can be so powerful. Yet it is a process that you have to continue to do, because when something's happening that you're in the throes of, where you don't know what's going to happen, and I were like right now for me, I think the greatest paralysis is not paralysis. I'm exhausted and I don't know if I know exactly where I'm headed right now. I've had very sharply defined goals for the past 3 years.
Yes.
That have really anchored me, and I've been very driven and very purposeful, and I've worked very hard, and I'm proud of myself for many, many things. Absolutely. That pride is genuine. And I'm getting messages from people constantly like, oh, you should be happy. Stop and smell the roses. Enjoy it. I know people are well-intentioned, but it's really invalidating. They're not in my body. And I have younger parts of self that feel very scared and unsure of what the future looks like. And the fear is really of making mistakes. I don't know what to do next. And there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle that need to be solved. It's not just like, oh, yay. Like these are not the fun problems. People's lives are more complicated internally than any of us realizes, which is why it's also important to remember to like really give people some grace. You don't know what they're going through.
You really don't.
Yeah. So I'm struggling with, and there was a beautiful line in the book I want to read to you. But I don't want to make the wrong choices. I don't want to, and it's not about, for me, fame, achievement. That's really not what I'm in pursuit in. I'm in pursuit of meaning, of doing things that I find purposeful, that use my highest and best talents, that allow me to flourish and continue to develop and have an impact on the world at the same time. That's what I really want. I want a life of meaning. It doesn't have to be easy. I'm willing to work hard, but I'm confused right now.
Yeah.
All right, let me read this part. This wasn't even the one I was looking for, but I just think this is so about the meaning of life and struggle. Okay, this is from this book, A Million Miles in 1,000 Years. He said, essentially, humans are alive for the purpose of journey, a kind of 3-act structure They are born and spend several years discovering themselves in the world, then plod through a long middle in which they are compelled to search for a mate and reproduce, and also create stability out of natural instability. And then they find themselves at an ending that seems designed for reflection. At the end, their bodies are slower, they are not as easily distracted, they do less work, and they think and feel about a life lived rather than look forward to a life getting started. This guy didn't know what the point of the journey was, but he did believe we were designed to search for and find something. And he wondered out loud if the point wasn't the search, but the transformation the search creates. That we were designed to live through something rather than to attain something, and the thing we were meant to live through was designed to change us. The point of the story is the character arc, the change. And so that is it. And yet what he says in the book is that when you're in it, you're feeling exactly like what we described. Young parts of self are popping up saying, but no, this isn't what I wanted. I don't want this, and I feel powerless to change it. Or I don't know what I want. I don't know what to do next. What if I mess up? Or I'm bored. My life is unremarkable, and every day feels like time to make the fucking donuts.
Honestly, I got to say that's like the worst one. I'm suffering right now in a lot of ways that I wish I weren't. And I would love to maybe part of me would love to be bored, but I've been bored. And I feel like that's the lowest energy state ever. And I can see that what I'm going through in my life right now is shaping me. It's like iron on iron. Like I'm getting shaped, and I'm doing it mindfully. And I would rather be in pain, in the suffering, and working through something, working against something, than being where there's nothing to work against.
I completely agree.
So
me too.
I have it. And then that awareness alone with what you're saying, where the work works on you more than you work on it, is what helps me stay in like an adult frame of mind and curious about what I'm going through. And just that little bit of curiosity and that little bit of space going, this is leading somewhere. Yeah. This is changing you. You're getting better because of this. And it doesn't feel great, but you needed this. Like there is a part of self that's like, God, you needed this.
And you will be better for it. And your life will be more interesting and fulfilling. I couldn't agree more. And I am coaching myself in a very similar manner, having some perspective, a lot of nurturing, a lot of curiosity, not taking my emotional states too seriously when I'm in them, but not beating myself up for them either. Not making big decisions out of emotional moments, which is a big growth arc for me because I tend to be a more intuitive and emotional person, and I can be impulsive. Impulsive would be the bad end. Decisive would be the good end. I'm willing to take risk, but I'm learning through all of this to let some things settle, right? To not decide, I want to move to some place where no one knows me when I'm, 2.5 weeks out from a book launch, right? Where I would have made decisions differently. So I think all of that awareness and self-compassion and curiosity, that like being forged in the fire has pain points, it's grist for the mill, it's going to make it better, is so, so, so helpful. But I think also continuing, and this is part of the curiosity, continuing to ask ourselves, like, what is my why? What do I want? And the quote that I searched for in the book but couldn't find, and I will find it eventually and share it with you. It's a simple sentence, but it's about part of why we feel so dissatisfied or bored, right? For people who do feel that way, and I think a lot of people do, is that we're walking into the wrong rooms. We're making the wrong choice. Like the meaning is in choosing, even if it's painful and difficult, is in going into the right room.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the things we talk about a lot that's so relevant here is you don't have to live a big life. It's not about a big grandiose life. It's about being involved in something that feels meaningful probably involves helping other people, using your natural abilities and gifts in service of others, something bigger than you, whether it's through like church, community, your job, all of the above. Being engaged and present with your family, whatever family means to you, having experiences with those people where you're really awake and engaged, and taking on challenges that push you out of your comfort zone. And I love how he talks about it in the book that you and I talk about this, we don't do it. Like people almost have to be pushed. And what I like about how he talks about it is that he says something I've always done and judged myself for that gave me permission to feel better about it, that I would force myself, like I'd lock myself into a commitment that I was terrified of. Like, let's say like the TEDx talk, right? Now I'm like, oh my God, I went after that so hard, but I was so scared of it. And then I was like, well, shit, now I got one and now I have to.
I have to.
I have to. And also by telling everyone I was doing it, I made it like, now people are expecting you're doing it, Colette, so you better do it. But I had parts of self that didn't want to do it at all up until this. At all, that in fact wanted to run and go, I don't know who that Colette lady is that signed us up for this, but she's dead to me.
We're not doing it.
Yeah. And that he says that's like how you have to often do it. Like he's not dating and he's fat. He was like fat his whole life and out of shape. And so he forces himself. He hears about this trip to Machu Picchu. He can't even like walk down the block. And there's this lady in some class with him that he thinks is cute, but she does not have any interest in him. And he hears about the trip and he's like, hey, to her and her friend, there's this trip to Machu Picchu that we're getting a group together for. Are you guys interested? And they say yes. And so this is the thing that forces him. Now he's like, fuck, what do I do?
I got to get in shape.
Yes. And this is what forces him to get into shape. And he ends up dating the woman. It doesn't work out, but he forces himself into the terrified zone of inaction by committing to action that he's not ready to take.
I love it.
And then he has no choice. And I used to feel ashamed of that. Like if people knew how scared I was to do those things, that I literally like browbeat my child parts into it and give them no choice. And then I just have to survive the day. But that's how I've done harder things.
Yes. And it's so funny that you say that because I've been trying, like I have a bucket list thing of running the New York City Marathon. And I'm like, just truthfully, I'm not in running shape right now. Like I ran 1.5 miles today and it was hard. Let's just say that. I've been doing a lot of walking.
That's hard for me. So yeah.
Right. I mean, but I've been in running shape.
I know.
Times. I can get back into
marathons.
it. Yes, I have. But I mean, they're never been like particularly easy for me. I have a whole thing around the marathon. The marathon's a whole lesson in of itself. That's a metaphor for something.
But what's the lesson of the marathon?
Oh, the lesson of the marathon is, my story with running is that when I came to running in my early 30s, I ended up being like a little bit better than I thought I'd be. And it became like a real ego thing where it's like every time I ran a race, I was like in the top 10. And I just got like really like, oh my God, my brother used to.
You got a lot of validation.
I got a lot of validation. And my brother used to say something because he was an incredible runner. And he'd say, I have no plan when I run. I just go out fast and hope I don't get caught. That's what he'd always say. And I remember thinking, I have no plan for running. I'm just like going to do me. And I mean, running is it's very scientific. It's very like you're dealing with fat burning and calories and your VO2 max. And I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to run and do me, like how I approach so many things. Right. And it's very scientific. You have to have an approach. And when I reached my ceiling with running, because marathoning was very hard on me, I would get like sick a lot. I would get run down. And the way I was training, I was really on pace to like make Boston qualifying. But I didn't really learn how to run a marathon. Like it's a process. And I fell apart in the last like 4 miles. And, I couldn't keep the pace. But instead of being like curious and going, this was a rep. I wonder what I'd have to do in order to get better at this. I was like, fuck it. Like the very young, like I don't want to get information about myself that
I don't like.
That I don't like. So I don't want to play anymore. And I'm not going to do it. And I would like walk around and say,
I relate to that.
Yeah. And I would walk around and say things like, I've said this before, maybe on the podcast, like your marathon time is really like your SAT. Like there's just a ceiling you can't break. Like you're just sort of like going to find your time and you really can't get past that. Well, that's total bullshit. Yeah. You can. You absolutely can. I watched my kid blow past his boundaries on the SAT.
And we know grit and perseverance is how you grow.
So I'm ready. I'm ready again to do the marathon differently with a renewed perspective of coaching self and being curious and staying with myself as I want to have a tantrum and say this is hard. This is stupid. I don't know why I'm doing this. But long story long, I ended up getting a thing for the New York City Marathon. Like, why don't you register? And I've registered for years and I never get in. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to register. I'm going to register and I'm just going to see. And of course, this is the year that I probably have the least bandwidth to do something like this. But I was like, you know what? If I get in, and I'll find out sometime in March if I get in. And of course, I'll get in when I'm like least ready for it, right?
Yes, and that will be the hero's journey.
But I'll do it. I'll do it.
And
I'm
you'll rise
force
to the
myself
occasion.
To do it.
Right. And that might be the only way it happened.
Exactly.
I mean, I feel like that's the same thing with my book. I didn't expect to get a contract with Penguin Random House. And then I was excited for about 4 seconds and then went into total terror. Now, how am I going to write a book? How am I going to write a book that's good enough? And it was a painful process. But once I had the contract, I had no choice. And I figured out how to do it. And I made it something I was proud of. And you will do the same for the marathon. And I think this is it. I think there is something too, as we wrap up this episode, there's something to, if we want to grow, if we want life to be meaningful, we have to be willing to suffer because it's part of the journey. There's just no escaping the messy middle. And we have to put ourselves into situations that there's no turning back and that force suffering or we will not grow.
Won't grow.
Because I'm also reading another book, and we can talk about this another time, but called Ask Not. And it's about how the Kennedy family and how they ruined their women, like by Maureen Callahan. It's fascinating. And I've gotten all into this because of Love Story and the Carolyn Bessette JFK Jr. show. But there's a line in there. Again, she's really a good writer, something I'm so envious of and greatly respect, where she says that Jackie dumped her first fiance, who was like a financial advisor, and because she would have ended up no more than like beautiful wisteria in a leafy suburb. I forget exactly how they put it, right? Like she would have had a comfortable but like large, unremarkable, where she would have been a trophy, an adornment. And she, for whatever you think of Jackie beyond her style, she was really sharp and really smart, and she wanted a bigger life. So whatever a bigger life means to you, it doesn't have to be obviously the first lady. You're going to have to push yourself into some of these goals and really be kind to yourself and with your feelings as you go through the suffering. Each conflict comes with its own set of sufferings, but its own accomplishments, its own, like you're better and better and better as you go.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is why, like in therapy, when people come in and they're kind of in a bad place and their instinct is to want to take things off their plate. Like, because you just want to really curl up and die.
That's where I am right now.
Yeah. I want a weighted blanket and the fetal position.
But I mean, I want to drop all these things I've been doing.
Right.
Like, and do maybe one thing. And I'm trying to, I am doing too much. It's not sustainable, but I also realize exactly that you want to just say like, no, no, no. And you can't let that energy, it's got to come from the energy of like discernment and refinement.
Clarity.
Not fear and hiding.
Right, exactly. But I think with you, you really do have like a shit ton on your plate. But I think a lot of people want to check out of life in general and just dial back even like normal things and make them less hard. And the sort of counterintuitive approach is you actually sometimes have to put something hard on the plate.
Yes.
And it's the thing that you put on the plate that's hard that gets you through it.
Yes. And then makes you better and happier. Like, I think this is the thesis of this, is that happiness is suffering.
Yeah. Like, how did we get there? But that's true. I mean, yeah.
It is, because at the end of the day, Laura, even though, and I'm so grateful we have each other and that we can talk so candidly about the struggles and not try to like advise each other out of how we feel. It's just so helpful to have this space to be who you are and how you are and feel how you are and have someone allow you to talk about it. But I also think we're in agreement that like maybe some things are hard right now. And maybe you guys are listening thinking, it doesn't look that hard. It looks great. But, you know, there's a lot more, just like there is to everyone's life, and like the privacy of your daily life, your agonies, your relationships, your finances, your career, your indecision, your insecurities. Trust me, nobody's that fucking happy. Yeah. But if you're engaged in your life and you're striving to grow, and you're thinking about like, what could I do next, however big or small, but it makes a difference to you and it can make a difference to somebody else. Like, that's what's going to make you ultimately happier. Like, joy isn't, I've cleared my life of all its obstacles and I can sit with a cocktail and a cigarette. I mean, it sounds good, but that's not
nice for an hour.
Right. That's escape.
Yeah, I like what you said about happiness is suffering. It's like the willingness to have a relationship with suffering.
Yes. Yes.
Be in relationship with it.
Yes.
And continually parent yourself through it in a way that it's like, I can handle this. I'm expanding.
Kind, loving, encouraging, and also not letting you off the hook, right? Like, stay in the game and know that sometimes you get beat up and that you still want to be in the game. Yeah. So I can't wait to hear what happens with the marathon. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'll let you know if I get in. If I don't get in, I'm 100% doing it on my 50th birthday. And that will be the 20th year of my dad's passing.
Oh, it's perfect.
He died of lymphoma. And I was like, if I don't get in this year, I'll run for the Leukemia Lymphoma Society and do it like in honor of him.
Oh, I love it.
So it's going to happen this year or next year.
Well, and also now you spoke it. Now you spoke it, and it shall be. Well, I won't be doing that with you, but I'll cheer you on from the sidelines. All right, you guys, we hope you got some great insights from our couch today on the meaning of life, and go suffer. Yeah. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.